My morning started gloomy, with the news of the sixth friend's father dying since we're all in this quarantine. It's the fourth death that's related to COVID. About a month ago, I said that the numbers on the TV screen were becoming names for me. When the first news of death of a friend's father had just reached me, I didn't know what to feel or what to tell him. And I can say now that this particular feeling does not go away with more experience. I suddenly get a phone call. Raid Bhai's mom. Raid Bhai gave me this gimbal as a show of support for my video making endeavors. I had left it at his house when he was in Bangladesh. Some days ago I called auntie to see if she could find it for me. She did pretty quick, but she told me to come a few days later, since it was raining. Baba, tumi oi jinishta niba na? Ajke to brishti nahi. I got on my cycle as quick as I possibly could. This is where I grew up. This particular photo is the street that I grew up in. This photo particularly is important because of the Shundar Hater Lekha banners on top. I never had good handwriting. Although both of my parents have beautiful handwriting, I don't. I guess penmanship isn't genetic. People didn't always used to wear masks like this as I grew up. This is the first time in 90 days I am going more than a mile away from my home. I had just gotten out to get groceries and medication. This feels like a trip. I didn't know how the people who are underprivileged went on with their days, people who are bringing grocery to the shop closest to me. Now I know. They got up every single day at dawn and came from different areas, and at times, different cities, to bring food as close to my doorstep as they possibly could. They were busy cleaning the streets, so we wouldn't have to walk around in the filth when all of this was behind us. Yet somehow, while making our lives better, they're considered less than us. While I was enjoying my long vacation of 3 months with little to no effort, they were out there, literally risking their lives for people like me. I wish with all the automation and technology, one day people won't have to risk their lives anymore. What a wonderful day that would be. I wish I could live long enough to see it. Maybe I won't be able to see it. Maybe some mutated form of my DNA will. Shadows, they say. Children are the shadows of their parents, which is a poetic way of saying we're all made a certain way and catered to our genetics. Which, if you ask me, teaches us more about acceptance of who you are, at least externally. You won't get shorter, taller, darker or fairer, skinnier or fatter, no matter how much you try, if you don't have the genes for it. Self-acceptance is something Maslow's hierarchy of needs doesn't have, something we don't teach at schools for some reason. If it did, I won't be feeling like that bag of trash on the top left corner all the time. The world right now is a little bit tilted. We've been shaken up. We're a little unstable right now. It's okay. We're going to be alright. Mankind is going to be alright. There's this Kendrick Lamar song I really like which says this. I think that song speaks more to the entire humanity than just individuals. Individuals like me don't matter that much even in the short history of humanity. People like Galileo and Newton might just be. We're all serving one purpose at the end of the day, which is this vague concept of humanity. And humanity, at the end of the day, is gonna be alright. Humans are just social animals with complex politics and communication methods. Together, we've somehow manipulated nature to our liking, to the point where we have control over most things in our lives. Even with all of these things, we often feel like we're not happy, and that's okay. Unsettling things are problems that we will solve in our lifetime. We solve problems so we can create more and solve them again. But I think we sometimes forget what it is we stand for. And for me, the answer, in very short, is humanity. I haven't been able to do things to help my fellow humans, but I dream of a day that I will. After all, apes together strong. I always attribute humans to other territorial animals. Dogs don't let other dogs into the neighborhood because they see that as a threat to their lives. When you hurt one dog, the whole pack runs to help that one dog. They stay together, scavenge food together, and look after their family and friends together. Not so different from us. I guess that's why they're man's best friend. I'm sorry, a person's best friend? Excuse my patriarchy. These streets are way too familiar to me. For 2 decades I have been roaming around these streets, sometimes with friends, sometimes with family, and sometimes just by myself. Right by this bridge, me and a couple of more friends from school had come up to chill, and this middle-aged dude who was jogging came up to us and started interrogating and claiming he's a police officer. Well, I forgot to tell you one detail. We had bunked school to be there. One of my classmates, who was well known for his free kick skills in football, whispered to us, "আমি এখন একটা জিনিস করব, তারপরে তোরা সবাই এক একজন এক এক দিকে দৌড় দিবি." Me, having no idea what was happening, stared with wrinkled eyebrows at my friend. Within seconds, he ran up like it was a do-or-die football match with another school and kicked the guy right in the nuts. I, as horrified as I was at the sight of his face, ran like there was no tomorrow. So yeah, I know these streets. I am these streets. In college, I had finally gotten a cycle that I've always wanted. Me and a friend of mine were stuck in traffic, right here in front of the Russian Cultural Center. I remember watching these kids playing with their mother, as happiest as they could be. And I remember realizing, you don't need money to be happy. So yeah, these streets have made me who I am today. I have always tried to see beauty in ugly places. I am what they call an optimist. But it is hard sometimes. What did this person do to deserve to get here? Why is she in the middle of the street scouring for food? I talk all big about humanity and how we have done so great in terms of science and technology. What is it that has led to this moment? This moment of a fellow human being who could have been my mother. Why is she searching food like an animal? What have we done? Can you please solve this? You, who's watching this right now. Yes, you, I'm talking to you. Please, if you can, I beg you to solve this. Because it breaks my heart. It's so much pain that I cannot fathom. I can't help her. I am unable to, and it makes me feel like a piece of shit. It makes me feel like I don't deserve happiness, while my fellow humans are in this pain. This is the place where I ran to with all the strength I had in a not-so-fine evening of 2016. I had just heard a friend of mine had hung himself and was now in a coma. I tried to run out of my college and the guards pulled me back, ripping my ID card off my neck. I went to the principal's office half crying that I needed to go see my friend. I rode my bicycle faster than I ever did, like that would save him somehow. It didn't. I'll forever remember his mother saying to me, "Reed, ota keno korlo?" I don't have an answer to that to this day. I sometimes have this dream in that he is alive and he says that he faked his death and went on to live in another city in another country. While I was in Nepal, I looked for him everywhere. Never saw him once. Remember that kick to the ball story I just told you a few photos ago? Yeah, it was him who kicked that guy. Over the years, I had drifted apart from our friendship. I still think to this day, could I have stopped it if I was still his friend? What have I done? Am I a bad friend? Am I responsible for this? I distract myself from these dark thoughts and try to focus on beauty. The earth is a beautiful place. It creates so many things for us to just stare at with no particular thing in mind. Just appreciate the beauty of it. We like to be around beautiful things. We like to be around beautiful people. Flowers, specifically, are a part of human culture for centuries on end. Giving a flower to someone is a gesture of love and appreciation. I don't like flowers that much. I think they're a stupid gift that has no material value. I just sometimes like looking at them. On trees. A fun fact about flowers, they evolve to different colors to attract bees and other insects that help with pollination, which is basically flower sex. And humans tear them up from trees in an attempt to get human sex. Like I said, I like to attribute humans with other beings. Speaking of attempts of sex, the building you see on the right side is the shopping mall where I met the girl I was in love with in high school. It was such a weird interaction. I couldn't properly grow a beard back then, but I had shaved my face 3 times before going to meet her. My heart was pounding with all the adrenaline. I didn't know what I should do. I remember feeling nauseated when I saw her. My legs were shaking like there was an earthquake. She was lucky I hadn't vomit all over her. She's happily married now. Damn, I feel old. This photo evokes so many memories for me as well as for other people, I'm sure. For those of you who don't know, this was the hub of all the private coachings. Teachers who are mostly from my school took, and I guess still takes, private classes here on before and after school hours. There used to be this restaurant here called Bhojan Bilash. They tore it down. Right in front to the left is the place where many of my school friends fell in love for the first time. It's a school named VNS. And even though I have heard a lot of bad things about that place, I have never met a bad person who graduated from there. I hear people badmouth things that they cannot achieve. Anyway, my best friend from college, and the love of my life at that time, is also from that place. Unfortunately, we had to break up, but I will say this. She's the most awesome human being I have ever had the chance of knowing. She's an artist, and she never stops drawing. Even between the hardest of her times in her life, she always knows how to create art. She doesn't even understand how much of a big deal she's gonna be in her life. It's all that nostalgia that are associated with these places that created my undying love for this fucked up city. This is in front of Raid Bhai's house. The day he came back from Canada last year, I remember him eating 2 plates of bhelpuri in a matter of minutes. Bhai, AJ. The guard gave me the bag. Inside, I saw a couple of oranges and a bunch of candy alongside the gimbal. I called Auntie to know who are these for. Auntie said, "তোমাকে তো উপরে ডাকতে পারলাম না এই করোনার জন্য একটু নাস্তা আনা দিয়ে কি বিদায় করতে পারি বলো বাবা?" With all of the bad memories that I had while I was coming here, all of it somehow vanished. Of course she did, I thought to myself. I had never went home with an empty belly whenever I came to Raid Bhai's place. As I was going back home, I wanted to swing by Dhanmondi 3 when me and my friend Shahid used to hang out after college. But it was blocked for some reason. They found a COVID patient here, I think. The dark cloud of reality had resurfaced. I was feeling this overwhelming sadness for 4 of my friends who had lost their fathers to COVID. I couldn't imagine their pain. It hurt like hell. This is where I used to wait for the bus for an entire decade. There was a shingara stand right over here. They used to sell small shingaras only for 3 taka. They used to serve them with onions and green pepper. I haven't tasted that in over 4 years now. I remembered all the times I fought with the bus conductor over 5 taka. I remembered that one time I had soaked myself in mud while playing football in the rain, so none of the buses would let me in. I had to spend 60 taka to get a rickshaw ride home. I remembered feeling sad about that 60 taka I had saved up for a week. We used to bunk school a lot. It was kind of in the DNA of our school. As far as I know, the culture has been held up for generations that kids would bunk school and do all sorts of things that they weren't supposed to do. This was the place where we would oftentimes rendezvous before going somewhere else. Not exactly here, but the opposite side of the street. This was also the #1 place to treat friends in a budget, especially lady friends. While I could never do that because the best money I could muster to save up was 60 taka. And even for a budget place like this, 60 taka was too little. This used to be our go-to spot after bunking school. This is Dhanmondi 3, the home of the infamous Awami League office, and the apartment named Dokhin Hawa. the home of the well-respected misogynist but that's not why we used to go here though. There used to be these gaming cafes on the street. Last I heard, they were not there anymore. The names Metal Gear, Escape, and Club 3 are sure to spark up some memories for my friends. We used to LAN play Call of Duty, FIFA, and Far Cry. 30 taka for an hour used to be the charge as far as I remember, which was the same as the table of pool in a pool cafe, just a few steps to the left of where I'm standing. A minimum of 2 hours of every day used to be spent here in my formative years. When my hard drive crashed in 2016, I lost all the photos I took at this time. As I head towards home, I stop in front of the mango tree in front of Tajuddin Ahmed's house. They tore down the old house and rebuilt it into a commercial complex when I was in school. They changed it one day at a time while I came back from school. I've seen this city evolve. It's not as it was back then, back when I was little. I think to myself, if leaders like Tajuddin Ahmed were alive, maybe my people wouldn't suffer as much. The overwhelming sadness creeps up again from the back of my head, thinking of 3rd November 1975, when they were brutally shot and murdered in jail. Just on the other side of the street used to be the chamber of my asthma doctor when I was little. Who knows if it's still there or not. They didn't have this many stores here when I was little. There was less people and everyone knew everyone. Nowadays, it takes a pandemic to get a little peace and quiet here. I often feel overwhelmed in all of this. I feel like I should have an option to start over. Somewhere new. Somewhere I won't be burdened with all of these memories and feelings. But there isn't a day that I don't want to do something for the people of the city. One of my friends once told me, দেশের বাইরে থেকে কি দেশের জন্য কিছু করা যায় না? I don't know, man. I don't even know if I'm capable enough. But I sure as hell will try. I can never turn my back on the city that made me.